Richie and Jack Parker and Jackie and the whole gang for giving us the opportunity to showcase this great campus and this facility that you're here tonight. State of the art, and I think you'll really enjoy the presentations we're going to have tonight and this fantastic sound system that really gives you the feeling and the emotion of the works that these people have done on sports here on the Space Coast. We would like to thank some very important people that have made and always help us with this event here with the Sports Hall of Fame. We would like to thank Tom Wasden, who has been in the Hall of Fame and has been a leader and a contributor to sports on the Space Coast for many years, took the Jacksonville team to the national championship and so on, and Tom is a proud presenter of the Hall of Fame. Let's hear it for Tom Wasden and his family. I also want to thank Health First. We have to do some of that work because they are obviously a provider of health care in the county. We couldn't do what we do today without the 4 hospitals, the 500 specialists they have here on the Space Coast, and that's Health First. Let's have a round of applause for Health First, please. Also, I'd like to thank some important sponsors as well who've helped us this morning. We had a wonderful breakfast of champions this morning. We had the finest male and female athletes in high school sports on the Space Coast in this very room this morning, and we recognized 35 male and female athletes in every sport, as well as many coaches and other administrators, some principals as well. And it was really interesting to see the looks on their faces as they walked by to get their breakfast, and they saw all of the posters of the Hall of Famers that are going into the hall tonight. And obviously, you guys are the creme de la creme of sports on the Space Coast. And they're the young ones who aspire to be where you are today, one day perhaps entering the Space Coast Sports Hall of Fame. So that was a very special morning, and we want to thank all the folks that made that possible. At this time, I'd like to introduce my partner, Tom Palermo, who's going to come up and say a few words.
Thanks, Giles. Yeah, I'd like to thank Giles, first of all, for doing a stellar job this morning as MC of the Breakfast of Champions. You know, we haven't had this event since COVID. You know, we founded this event or the Hall of Fame in 2011. We've all got around a table and said, you know, we don't have any recognition for all the incredible athletes that we've had over the years in Brevard County. There's nothing that's in an organized fashion. So there was about a half a dozen of us, one of which was Larry Garrison, who you're going to hear a lot more about later tonight. And we pounded out a business plan to start a Hall of Fame. And since that time, it's probably been one of the best things that we have done over the almost 40 years we've been in the county. These athletes that keep popping up, some from 50, 60 years ago, that everybody's forgotten, but we bring back to life to remind people of their stellar careers. So, and then of course up through the most current ones, like for example, Coach Schneider and his Cocoa Tigers, who are the team of the year, and everything in between. But we really appreciate your support tonight coming out of this COVID thing. Last one we had was 2019. And then, of course, there was a big lockdown. And, you know, we did talk about many times bringing it back since then. But, you know, people were reluctant to get back in a room together. And I think that's finally changed. So we're going to bring this back with full force as an in-person event. And look forward to doing many, many more of these, because we get so many nominations. You know, each year we say, well, you know, did we run out of people? And it's like, nope. We'll get nominations from you know, places you least suspect. And so in fact, we've got probably all the inductees set for next year, which we won't announce it for, you know, until later in the year. So, and I do want to thank a few people. I want to thank, you know, the Space Coast Daily media staff, who we couldn't do this without, because you're going to see some incredible video work done here tonight. as well as in the magazines you see on your tables, we got profiles of everybody that we're honoring tonight. So, I want to thank Zach Clark, our executive editor, who does a great job. We've got Gavin Keith, who is our video expert. We got Brian Dillon is in the room. You're going to hear more about Brian later tonight. Brian is put all of these videos together. So I want to thank all of our staff at Space Coast Daily for making this possible as well. So, but again, thank you very much for coming tonight.
Well said, well said. Thank you, Tom. And Rusty Buchanan, who is a longtime friend of ours here on the Cocoa Beach area, former AAU executive, led the largest amateur athletic union in the world for 18 years, and obviously brought the Junior Olympic Games to Cocoa Beach twice, making a huge economic impact here on the Space Coast. We're going to have Rusty Buchanan come up and say a few words. Rusty, would you join us?
All right, when Giles asked me if I'd come up and do a couple of things, I said, sure, anything we can do. This is the 17th year. I didn't realize that I started this when I was only 20 years old, but absolutely amazing that 17 years of honoring some of the best athletes that this county's produced, and to see some of these videos and some of the recognition that you'll see tonight is truly amazing that this much talent has come out of here. So I said, yeah, I'd love to do it. Whatever you want me to do, Giles, I'm in. Until today, when he said, oh, by the way, you're tasked to do the invocation. I said, yeah, you sure? Nobody has ever asked me to do an invocation. So I said, Giles, maybe you ought to find somebody else that's a little tighter, got a little better contacts than I do up there. He goes, no, you'll do fine, you'll do fine. And I thought about it for a minute. My grandmother wouldn't say an invocation. And every now and then she'd say blessing, but what she'd say is, well, we got to give thanks. And I thought about it for a minute. Maybe that's something that we don't do enough of. So if you'll bear with me for just a minute, I'm going to go back to what my grandmother used to say is, and let's give thanks. Because we do have a lot to be thankful. Let's be thankful tonight for the opportunity to be here with our friends and our family. Let's be thankful that we live in a country and we're all free. Our freedoms that we've got here. Let's be thankful for those people who have given that to us. Our first responders, our firemen, our policemen, our soldiers, our folks that have given this. Let's be thankful tonight for all these successes that we're going to honor and recognize a little bit later. And let's be thankful for the opportunity to continue and get up every day and work with our friends, with our families, our partners, our loved ones. So we are all blessed. So we ask tonight that we continue to be blessed. Bless the food to the nourishment of our bodies and us to the service. And I appreciate you guys bearing the first ever invocation I've ever done. So thank you for that.
Beautifully done, as always. Right then, we're going to get started. What we're going to do here tonight, folks, is we're going to honor and recognize each one of our inductees by showing a film that our team has developed under the leadership of Brian Dillon. And once we finish the film, we'd like to invite you to come up and say a few words, if you'd like to. If you don't, you wave me off, that's fine. We'd like to invite you to come up and really tell us what this means to you, and obviously what it means to your family as well. We also, at that time, will present you with your Space Coast Sports Hall of Fame engraved award, as well as a framed poster, and we have the official Space Coast Sports Hall of Fame pin that only the Hall of Famers are going to get. And so that will become a collector's item. You're going to wear that proudly as we go forward. Right then, without further ado, Gavin Keith, if you're ready in the back, we're going to start with our first inductee, for 2025. And this is the Hall of Fame is made up of professional athletes, college athletes, high school athletes. It goes to referees, umpires, people who make a difference in the community. It's not all about the guys who play in the NFL or the NBA. It's about a lot more than that. But this is our first category. It's the professional category. And our first awardee this year is a football player by the name of Jamal Dean.
Playing on back-to-back 11-2 state playoff teams for Coach John Wilkinson, Jamal Dean was one of the best two-way players on the Space Coast and a two-time Florida first-team Class 4A All-State pick at Cocoa High. In 2014, Jamal was selected as the Brevard County Player of the Year and the FACA District 12 MVP. Dean was a highly recruited prospect despite knee injuries he suffered during his prep career. Finally healthy in 2017, he started 11 of 14 games for the Auburn Tigers. During the 2018 season, Dean had 30 tackles and 11 pass breakups and earned SEC Academic Honor Roll and Academic Top Tiger honors, graduating with a weighted 3.8 GPA. Dean turned pro as a redshirt junior after amassing 19 career pass breakups and 2 picks as a 2-year starter. He raised his NFL stock at the Combine with a 98th percentile SPARK results, including a 4.3 flat jets and a 41-inch vertical. He was selected by the Tampa Bay Bucks in the 3rd round of the 2019 NFL Draft. Dean finished his rookie season with 21 tackles, 17 pass deflections, 2 interceptions, and 1 forced fumble, and he solidified himself as a rookie on the rise. His next season in 2020, Jamal recorded 62 tackles, scored his first pro touchdown, and helped the Bucks win a Super Bowl championship. A 2020 inductee into the Space Coast Sports Hall of Fame, Jamal Dean.
To ask Coach Schneider to come on up, say a few words about the Cocoa Tigers and what people like this mean to his program at Cocoa and obviously to the Space Coast. Coach Schneider, everybody, Cocoa Tigers.
Yeah, I didn't know I was going to be talking today. So my principal told me when I was coming to this, she was like, whatever you do, don't curse. So I'm going to do my best not to. But, Jamal and all the other guys before I got there have done a great job of laying the foundation and really showing the younger guys how to do things and how to be successful. And, he deserves all the credit. And he's just not a great football player, but he's always around. He's always coming back to the school and helping out and talking to the kids. And it's it's an honor for him, and he deserves everything he gets. So appreciate it, and thank you.
Thank you, Coach. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Superstars indeed. Our next honoree is an unusual one, someone who called Titusville home for many years. And this is an athlete by the name of Hacksaw Jim Dugan.
If you were a fan of pro wrestling in the late 1980s, you know the name Hacksaw Jim Duggan. The then Titusville resident joined the WWF in 1987 and 2 years later rose to become the Federation's champion. Duggan became famous for carrying a 2x4 into the ring while yelling out his trademark USA chants. Duggan grew up in Glen Falls, New York, where he became a star athlete in high school, lettering in football, track, wrestling, and basketball, and winning the New York State High School Wrestling Championship. Jim was recruited by Ohio State University, but would instead choose to play football at SMU. After college, Duggan was signed by the NFL's Atlanta Falcons, but was released after being plagued by knee injuries. Duggan's first professional match was in 1979, and he signed to the WWF in January '87. Hacksaw signed a contract with World Championship Wrestling in 1994. In '98, Jim was diagnosed with advanced kidney cancer. Within a week of the diagnosis, he was on the operating table. Miraculously, he not only beat the disease, but he was back in the ring months later like nothing had ever happened. In 2011, Duggan was inducted to the WWE Hall of Fame. He has been married to his wife Deborah since 1989, and they have 2 daughters, Celia and Rebecca. A 2020 inductee into the Space Coast Sports Hall of Fame, Hacksaw Jim Duggan.
His regards and his best wishes. Who knew? A Titusville resident, Jim Dugan, right? Next up in the pro category is a tremendous athlete again, Chauncey Gardner Johnson.
Former Cocoa Tiger and Florida Gator Chauncey Gardner Johnson has been a high-impact player ever since beginning his career on the youth football fields of Brevard County, right up to his selection to the Pro Football Writers Association 2019 All-Rookie Team. During his senior year at Cocoa High School, the 2015 Space Coast Daily Friday Night Locker Room Prep Football Player of the Year helped guide the Tigers to a 10-3 record and a spot in the state semifinal game. ESPN's 84th best high school prospect and number 4 ranked player in the state of Florida decided to take his considerable talents to the University of Florida and play for the Gators. Always the impact player, Gardner Johnson appeared in every game during his 3 years at Florida and started 25 times in the Gators secondary. Foregoing his senior season, Gardner Johnson was drafted by the New Orleans Saints in the 4th round and then played in all 16 games during his rookie season, starting in 7 at defensive back for the Saints. For his outstanding play during the 2019 NFL season, Gardner Johnson was selected to the Pro Football Writers Association All-Rookie Team. Gardner Johnson recognizes his family and friends, former Cocoa Tigers head coach John Wilkinson, youth football coach Alex Goins, and former NFL player and Cocoa Tiger James Folston for their support and encouragement. A 2020 inductee into the Space Coast Sports Hall of Fame, Chauncey Gardner Johnson.
Hopefully he's watching. By the way, folks, if any of your friends or family can't be with us tonight, they can watch it live on our YouTube channel or our Facebook. We're live on social media now. Our next inductee, I don't think Randy made it tonight. He was going to try to make it. But Randy Popst is an auto racer, and he brings speed to the Space Coast.
Brevard County native Randy the Rocket Popst has won nearly 100 professional road races and 10 professional championships. Active in the SCCA World Challenge GT Series and the Grand American Series GT class, Popst was the 2003, 07, 08, and 2010 SCCA World Challenge GT champion. He is also a 2-time class winner of the 24 Hours of Daytona in 2001 and 06. He's currently a Mazda, Volvo, Audi, and Porsche factory-supported driver, but honed his speediness with cars in Melbourne, where he grew up. While not racing, Randy is writing, serving as tester, journalist, and video host for Motor Trend magazine. He has more than 75,000 Instagram followers, and his YouTube channel has 50,000 followers and growing. 2021 Space Coast Sports Hall of Fame inductee, Randy Popst.
Come out of the Space Coast. Truly amazing when you really look and see. The last member of our pro category going into the Hall of Fame this year is another outstanding football player who was actually recognized this morning as our Football Offensive Player of the Year at the Breakfast of Champions. So he's going into the Hall tonight as well. Cocoa High School's Javon Boggs. Excuse me, I made a mistake there. The next person we're going to induct is Juwan Taylor from football. There's so many Cocoa Tigers, I can't keep them straight.
Juwan Taylor, a former standout at Cocoa High and UF and currently an offensive lineman for the NFL's Jacksonville Jaguars, played every snap for the Jags in 2019, his rookie season. That Taylor is living his NFL dream simultaneously with 2 peers he grew up playing with, Cocoa teammates Jamel Dean and Chauncey Gardner Johnson, is something he seems to cherish. It's a blessing, us 3 all playing together since Little League, says Taylor. It was Tigers coach John Wilkinson, along with Juwan's family, that helped him during a career-altering summer following his junior season, in which he lost an astonishing 52 pounds, making him more attractive to prospective schools. He signed to play college football at the University of Florida. Taylor excelled with the Gators, knowing he was ready for the next level at the end of his junior season. Foregoing his senior season, Taylor was selected by Jacksonville with the 35th overall pick in the NFL Draft. In his rookie season, Taylor started the first game and had such a successful season in 2019 that he was named to the Pro Football Writers of America All-Rookie Team. I played 1,000 snaps, started every game. I owe a lot of credit to just how I trained and prepared, says Taylor. In recognition of his incredible success at the high school, college, and professional levels, we now honor him here in his old stomping grounds. A 2020 inductee into the Space Coast Sports Hall of Fame, Juwan Taylor.
Talent is obviously running high and deep here on the Space Coast, and there's another example. And that wraps up our pro category this year. And this next category is a special meeting to me personally. I was a volunteer coach at FIT soccer for many years. And I came across this next lady when I was down there on the campus working on my graduate degree. And it was a great atmosphere back then in the old Hedgecock Gymnasium. Packed houses there in the old gym that really are unforgettable. And the women's basketball team was really a special atmosphere on campus and some great athletes. And this next one, Paulette King, is going into the Hall of Fame. Let's hear it for Paulette. Jamaican native Paulette King did not play basketball until the age of 19. Having previously excelled at volleyball, field hockey, and track, she adapted quickly to basketball and became one of Jamaica's top players, playing for the national team for 4 years. Paulette was recruited by Phillips Junior College in Texas, where she averaged over 20 points and 8 rebounds a game, and was named to the All-Conference and All-Region teams. At 27 years old, she was ineligible to compete in Division I, but Florida Tech signed her for her junior and senior seasons, where she led the Lady Panthers to their first 2 appearances in the NCAA Division II tournament. She was selected First Team All-American and the Sunshine State Conference Player of the Year both years. Her achievements earned her induction into the Florida Tech Sports Hall of Fame, the SSC Hall of Fame, and a spot on the SSC's Silver Anniversary team. A 2020 Space Coast Sports Hall of Fame inductee, Paulette King. Much. Watch your step there. Thank you very much.
Hello, everybody. First of all, I just want to thank the Lord for, without him, I wouldn't be able to be here. And I want to thank Bill Juergens, who have been athletic director for 40 years, 50 years at FIT. Without him, I wouldn't be here today. I want to thank you, Space Coast Hall of Fame, the committee, and the organization for selecting me. This is a very prestigious award that you bestowed upon me, so thank you very much. And I wouldn't be able to do it without my husband, Mike Morin, my daughter, Michaela Morin, and Alex Morin. They're here today. And last but not least, all my friends that show up for me today. One lady came all the way from Fort Lauderdale. So thank you. Thank you again.
How about your college for 30 years, John Reynolds?
Thank you, Paulette. Beautiful words, and indeed, what a great credit to Paulette, all the friends and folks who've come to see her tonight and join with her to celebrate. This next inductee, I actually saw myself in deep Wales in the UK back in the 86, 87 time period. I was helping bring some talent into FIT, and this young man was on the Welsh junior national team, playing for Wales schoolboys. And what struck me about him, first of all, was that he had unbelievable grades in school, and he was on the Welsh national soccer team. He was straight A guy, and he ended up coming to and join us at FIT and doing applied mathematics. And Dylan Lewis has gone on to become a teacher and a coach, and is really making a difference in young people's lives. We're really glad that Dylan chose FIT to join us for 4 years, and we actually were successful with Dylan to win 2 NCAA Division II national championships, taking FIT and putting them on the map with their first national championship they're extremely proud of. Dylan's got a wonderful family. I know he's watching tonight. Dylan, I'm sorry you couldn't be with us tonight. He's up in the Northeast coaching and teaching, but this is all about you, Dylan, and we honor you and recognize you tonight. Dylan Lewis, the only Florida Tech men's soccer player to have his jersey number retired, is also the only Panther to contribute to Florida Tech's 1988 and 1991 NCAA Division II national championship teams. Arguably the Panthers' best defensive player ever, Lewis was named the Adidas ISAA Player of the Year in 1991 and was the NCAA Division II National Championship Defensive MVP. Recruited by then Panthers assistant coach Giles Malone at the Sports Scholarship Foundation trials at Oxford University, Dylan garnered All-American and All-South region honors in 1991, All-State in 1990 and 91, and All-SSC in 1989 through 1991. Although shutdown defense was his specialty, Lewis found the back of the net 18 times in his career and is 10th in the Panther record book with 31 career assists. Graduating with honors in applied mathematics in 1991, he went on to play professionally for the Orlando Lions and the Cocoa Expos. A 2020 Space Coast Sports Hall of Fame inductee, Dylan Lewis.
Good evening. First of all, I'm sorry I can't be with you all tonight. Many congratulations to my fellow inductees. Becoming a member of the Space Coast Sports Hall of Fame Class of 2020 is indeed an honor. Thank you to the committee who nominated me. I played soccer at Florida Tech during the most successful 4 years of the program's history, making it to 3 Final Fours and claiming 2 national championships. I have many people to thank in my journey, but foremost are my mum and dad for all their support, Giles Malone for bringing me over from the UK, and Rick Stotler for spearheading the success the program enjoyed during those years. Also, thanks to all my teammates. It's a time I'll look back on with great fondness. I wish I could have been there with everyone tonight, and I hope you all enjoy a fantastic evening. Once again, thank you.
All the best to you. One of Dylan's teammates is our next inductee, another Panther from Florida Tech. And this young man was a really strong player in the London area of England, and had dreams of playing for a professional club which he grew up with, Fulham, as a young man, and went on to really aspire to be a professional soccer player. But like many kids at the age of 16, 17 in England back in those days, they didn't all make it. And sometimes it was just a little bit of something, a little bit of luck. But to our luck, Steve Freeman became available, and we recruited Steve very quickly to come and join us at FIT. The interesting part is that Steve was fully focused on football as a young man, really the antithesis of Dylan. Steve's grades were very poor, and it took a heck of a job to persuade FIT to give him a chance to get into FIT. And many told us he wouldn't make it. But you know what? Steve Freeman went on to lead us to a national championship at FIT, went on to become on the board of trustees at FIT, is a big source of money now for FIT, and is a leader in the financial markets up in the Northeast. So you talk about a success story coming from FIT, it's Steve Freeman. And this is a tribute to this young man who did a lot here for soccer on the Space Coast. Steve Freeman's passing ability and talent in striking and bending the soccer ball were world class. The Richmond, England native led Florida Tech to the Division II National Soccer Championship in 1988, the school's first ever national title in any sport. A 4-time All-SSC, All-State and All-South Region first team selection and 2-time All-American, Steve Freeman led the Sunshine State Conference in scoring as a junior and senior and scored 51 goals and added 59 assists during his college career. He later played professionally for Orlando, being named a League All-Star in 1997. A Sunshine State Conference Hall of Famer, Freeman was inducted into the Florida Tech Hall of Fame in 1995. Steve was a determined leader and integral to the upstart Panthers' meteoric rise to the top of NCAA soccer, said former Panthers head coach Rick Stotler. The 2021 Space Coast Sports Hall of Fame inductee, Steve Freeman.
Good evening, everyone, from Boston. First of all, I would like to congratulate my fellow inductees this evening. What a great honor for all of us, recognizing our accomplishments and how all of you made a difference in the Space Coast community. I'm truly honored to be inducted into the Space Coast Hall of Fame. My sincere thanks to the selection committee and for this meaningful recognition. I'm both grateful and truthfully honored to be a part of it. This moment is not about individual achievement. It's about the people I've had the privilege to play alongside, the people that have coached me, and the individuals that have believed in me. The collaboration, the shared commitment, and the strong relationships we've built have made all the difference. I've been fortunate to be a part of teams where trust, respect, and hard work were the norm, and where laughter and perseverance were often hand in hand. This is also a moment of reflection. Our team tragically lost a teammate who left a lasting mark on all of us. Most of us remember Fiji. And my closest friend, Bino Campanini, as you all know, is courageously battling brain cancer. Their strength, their spirit, and their love for life continue to guide and inspire all of us every day. This honor to me is not just about recognition of the past. It's a call to keep building, to leave a legacy that others can learn from, build on, and carry forward. My hope is that our previous work leads to the path for others to follow in our footsteps, and then go even further. Once again, congratulations to all the inductees. I apologize I can't be there this evening, but thank you again. I'm proud, humbled, and deeply grateful.
He had a lot more hair back then, but he still looks good. Steve, I know you're watching. We're thinking about you tonight. Many congratulations to you and your family, and keep up the good work. Very good words from Steve Freeman. Our next inductee in the college ranks, our last one in the college ranks, is a baseball player by the name of Brian Cook.
From his time in Rockledge Little League through his All-American career at Nova Southeastern University, Brian Cook was an impact player and a very special talent. His Little League years saw him playing on multiple All-Star baseball teams, and during his senior year at Rockledge High, he helped lead the Raiders to the state championship. After graduating high school, Cook attended Santa Fe Community College, later transferring to Nova Southeastern University for his last 2 years of college baseball, and he was nearly unstoppable. He finished his career with the Sharks with a .408 batting average, a .771 slugging percentage, and was second in career home runs with 30. In 2016, Cook was elected to the Sunshine State Conference Hall of Fame, the first NSU student athlete to ever be so recognized. 2021 Space Coast Sports Hall of Fame inductee, Brian Cook.
He made it, but many congratulations to Brian and your family. An incredible talent here on the Space Coast. Now we move on to our high school, our prep category, and hopefully a lot of you are watching our Space Coast Daily prep coverage over the years, and we really want to thank and recognize our team at Space Coast Daily who do really great work. Of the Friday Night Locker Room, Steve Wilson and Orville Susong have been broadcasting sports here on the Space Coast for decades, and we couldn't be more proud of those two guys. They do so much in the community, recognizing not only high school sports, but so many charitable and good things that we can celebrate here that are happening on the Space Coast. I want to thank Steve and Orville for all their good work in the prep category. And this first person going into the hall from the prep category this year is really from a family who's got amazing talent. When you think about the Denenberg family and all they've produced from their family in the way of athletes, it's truly, truly amazing. And Lexi Denenberg couldn't be with us tonight. She's actually playing in a tournament, I believe, out in California. But we want to recognize her tonight, Lexi Denenberg.
A member of the 2018 Merritt Island High State Championship volleyball team, Lexi Denenberg was named High School Beach First Team All-American in 2019 by the AVCA and Under Armour Indoor Volleyball All-American in 2018. A 4-year letter winner for both indoor volleyball and soccer at Merritt Island High School, she additionally earned 2 beach volleyball letters. Lexi gathered plenty of attention during her freshman year in college, attending UCLA on a beach volleyball scholarship. First Floridians, Denenberg and Riley Powers, helped the team snag its second consecutive NCAA Beach Volleyball Championship. Bruins coach Stein Metzger praised them both as blue chip All-Americans. Her accomplishments have not gone unnoticed, as Space Coast Daily named Lexi the Volleyball Player of the Year for 2018 and the Female Athlete of the Year in 2019. A 2020 Space Coast Sports Hall of Fame inductee, Lexi Denenberg.
Oh, Connie and the family are watching tonight. Congratulations, guys. Keep up the good work, and we're really following your progress with all of your children on the Space Coast. This next inductee is another very special one to me personally. Steve Freeman, who was just inducted, touched on a young man called Fitzgerald Haig, everyone knows as Fiji, here on the Space Coast, who played with us at FIT Soccer, where we won a national championship with Fiji, and he was a great person. And he went on to coach in Satellite, coach in the youth game here in Brevard County, and actually made a huge difference in many young people's lives in helping them learn the great sport of soccer. And one of those people that he coached is our next inductee, and that's Andy Sellers.
Playing for coach Fiji Haig's great satellite high school soccer teams of the mid-90s, Andy Sellers was a 3-time first-team All-State and Space Coast Conference Player of the Year, setting the Florida High School state record for career goals with 230. Her 81 goals as a senior led the 23-1 Scorpions to the Class 5A state title game, a final number 2 Class 5A state ranking, and resulted in Sellers being named the state of Florida's 1996 Player of the Year. Andy went on to star at University of Florida, garnering all SEC accolades her freshman, junior, and senior seasons, and All-American honors her junior and senior seasons. She finished her college career tied for 20th on the NCAA career goals list. An academic standout, Sellers was named the Verizon Academic All-American of the Year her senior year at UF, earning both a bachelor's and master's degree in sports management. A 2020 Space Coast Sports Hall of Fame inductee, Andy Sellers.
Andy lives up in the Northeast, and her father, Ron Sellers, I know is watching tonight. Ron was a very impactful man with soccer in the Brevard Youth Soccer League for many years, so the parents definitely have a big role, certainly, and they did in Andy's life. Our next inductee in the prep category is an incredible athlete in track and field. I was speaking with her mother earlier outside before the reception, and she was mentioning, I said, were you an athlete yourself? Because she's looks like an athletic person. She said, well, somewhat. And I said, what really led Kyra Simmons into the field of track and field? She says, well, she was determined to go to college, and she was determined to get a scholarship. But that really determination's led her now into the Space Coast Sports Hall of Fame, and that's Kyra Simmons.
An impact athlete on the Rockledge Raiders track team, 2015 Rockledge High graduate Kyra Simmons brought home multiple state championships, including the long jump in 2015, and was a member of the 4x100 state championship teams in 2013 and 14. In college at Ole Miss, Simmons excelled her junior year for the Rebels, being selected as an All-American, and was an NCAA East Region qualifier in the 4x100 meter relay. Also outstanding in the long jump, she finished her career with the third longest jump in Ole Miss history. She excelled in academics as well. The former Raider and Rebel track star never thought she would end up with a career in law enforcement, but recently completed the Law Enforcement Academy at Valencia College and is now an Orange County deputy. A 2021 Space Coast Sports Hall of Fame inductee, Kyra Simmons.
Yes, 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 yes. Congratulations, Kyra. Wonderful family, too. Come on up here. Thank you so much. See it.
So I'm not great with speeches, but this is such an honor. I would not be here without my family. I also like to thank my coaches from high school, Coach Freddie, Scarborough, and Coach Kenny. If you guys would have known, my freshman year of high school, I did not want to run track. My mom actually forced me into track. I thought I was going to be a cheerleader at LSU. But that quickly turned away, and Coach Freddie just kept going at me to make sure I gave it my all to where I was able to get a scholarship. So super thankful for my community, the people that I have, God for giving me the ability to do what I'm doing. And yeah, thank you guys so much. It's such an honor. I'm not good with speeches, but thank you.
Well done. Perfect.
Well, that wraps up almost all of our prep athletes. This next person was at our Breakfast of Champions this morning, being honored and recognized for his contributions in high school. He's an incredible athlete, was a national leader in offense for the Tigers. This next person is Javon Boggs.
On the strength of his record-setting prep career for the Cocoa Tigers, Javon Boggs joins an elite group of Cocoa football players who have been inducted into the Space Coast Sports Hall of Fame. Boggs improved exponentially year after year. As a sophomore, he began making a name for himself, catching 41 passes for over 700 yards and 6 touchdowns, helping the Tigers win the 2A state championship. Reeling in an incredible 93 catches for almost 1,500 yards and 24 touchdowns his junior season, Boggs helped lead the Tigers to their second consecutive state championship, and he was named the 2023 Florida Dairy Farmers Mr. Football, the first to do so in school history. Boggs etched his name into the record books in his senior season, catching 99 passes for 2,133 yards and 24 touchdowns, just 28 yards shy of the Florida single-season receiving yards record. However, he did set the record for the most receiving yards in a game as he put up video game-like numbers in the state semifinals against Cardinal Mooney. After helping the Tigers complete their championship three-peat, Boggs chose to sign with Florida State University and is now looking to make an immediate impact for the Seminoles. A 2025 inductee into the Space Coast Sports Hall of Fame, Javon Boggs.
Javon, are you here tonight? Come on up, sir. We're very excited to see a couple of Tigers in the Super Bowl this year, and hopefully, you never know what's going to happen in the future. Maybe we'll see this young man. Javon, congratulations.
Thank you, everybody being here. And, it's an honor for me, to just be inducted in the Hall of Fame at this young. And, I just want to thank everybody, Coach Snyder, my parents, everybody that made sacrifices for me throughout my whole, football career from Little League to now. And, yeah, I just want to thank everybody.
Good job.
Go Tigers. Fantastic. That wraps up our prep category. Now we go on to the amateur and the recreation category. Very interesting group of people coming up now. Have you ever seen these people on television who go out to deep water with a little boat on the side there or something like that, and they have a rope that goes down 200 or 300 feet down into the depths of the ocean? You ever seen those people? And you sort of scratch your head and go, how in the heck do they do that? Well, we've got a world leader in that sport, the free diving sport, from a very interesting and very talented family here on the Space Coast. And this is our next inductee. This is Ali Penovich.
Cocoa Beach High graduate and former college triathlete Ali Penovich is now an international free diving champion and International Underwater Spearfishing Association world record holder. Freediving is the sport of diving underwater on one breath of air, unassisted by any artificial breathing apparatus. Freediving is also used as a means of diving for spearfishing or harvesting fish with spear guns, Hawaiian slings, or pole spears. Ali learned spearfishing from her dad, who was a commercial fisherman and spearfisherman, and got her first world record at age 17. Between 2014 and 19, she shot and received 3 more records. When asked to describe the sport of freediving, she says, "It is basically diving as deep as you can on one breath. It is very interesting and I love it." A 2021 Space Coast Sports Hall of Fame inductee, Ali Penovich.
Ali and her family were going to be here tonight. She has young children, and they got sick, so she couldn't be with us tonight, but I know she's watching. Ali, many congratulations, and keep up that great work. Congratulations to you and your family. Our next inductee was an incredible track and field athlete, and really made a difference in his sport, and continues to make a difference as well. This is our next inductee, Peter Blount, track and field.
Peter Blount fell in love with running as a Melbourne Bulldog. After graduating Mel High, he ran track at Texas A&M, but family circumstances brought him back to Brevard, where he ran track at BCC. He later won a full track scholarship to UF, where Blount became one of the most versatile track athletes in Gators history, with his explosive sprint ability. While at UF, Blount received an invitation to compete on the US World Cup bobsled team that also included Herschel Walker and Edwin Moses. Blount has one of the highest elite athlete testing scores in history, recording an 806 on a 6-item performance test given by the United States Bobsled Federation. Blount's coaching experience is equally extensive and successful, earning many titles and accolades. He is a member of the Florida Track and Field Hall of Fame and the FACA Hall of Fame. A 2020 Space Coast Sports Hall of Fame inductee, Peter Blount.
There he is.
Thank everyone for being here, and I'm back home. I ran track here many moons ago, and I just want to say thank you first to my Lord and Savior, my family here, and all of the inductees tonight. And also, I would just like to say that these events are very important. And I'll say this and I'll sit down. But I had given up on everything. I was not recruited out of high school. 0 scholarship offers. And I was running around the track one day, and some of you may remember Frank Craig grabbed me off the track and said he just became the head coach here at then Brevard Community College. I told him I wasn't running anymore. He said, "Yes, you are." And I ran. And from there, all of the accolades followed. But I just want to encourage everybody to continue to support events like this, because trust and belief is a transformative aspect of all of our human experiences. And with that, I think you could do many things, as we can see from all of us and all of the support that we've given from these individuals that have attained such high levels. Thank you so much for being here.
Congratulations. Fantastic stuff, and we've over the years we've had many great wrestling athletes here recognized by Space Coast Daily, and some great coaches as well. And this next inductee is indeed a world-class wrestler by the name of Kaylor Williams.
During his first year of competitive wrestling as a freshman at Palm Bay High, Kaylor Williams was thrust into the starting lineup at 171 pounds. Coach Sean Ballard's instructions were straightforward each time he went out onto the mat. "You know your job," Ballard said. "Don't get pinned." Facing much more experienced opponents, he stepped onto the mat 24 times that season and was pinned 22 times, not winning a single match. But the resilient Williams stuck with it. The guy who couldn't win a match as a freshman didn't lose as a senior, going 50-0 and winning the Florida State Championship in his final prep season. The remarkable transformation of Williams continued as he then landed a spot on the U.S. World Team in Greco-Roman wrestling, representing the USA in the 211.5-pound class at the World Championships in Budapest. Kaler accepted a college scholarship offer from UNC Greensboro, an NCAA Division I school. As a redshirt freshman during the 2010-11 season, Kaler earned Southern Conference Freshman of the Year honors while qualifying for the NCAA Championships in Philadelphia. Williams became an E4 with the Colorado Army National Guard and brought his resilience to the U.S. Army World Class Athlete program after graduating from UNCG. From a winless freshman to a world-class competitor, Kaler Williams always left it all out on the mat. A 2020 inductee into the Space Coast Sports Hall of Fame, Kaler Williams.
Talent meets determination, makes success oftentimes. Congratulations to Kaler. And just a side note, our very own sports editor, Zane Garcia, his uncle, wrestled with Kaler down there in high school. So really a great family and a great tradition of wrestling here on the Space Coast. Now then, moving on to our next inductee is actually a coach here at Eastern Florida and has really made a big difference in running and cross country here on the Space Coast and continues to do that. And we had the Breakfast of Champions this morning here, and he was out recruiting many of these athletes to hopefully stay home and stay here at Eastern Florida State College. This is a good friend to the Space Coast and a very hard-working coach, a very knowledgeable coach. Let's hear it for Doug Butler.
Doug Butler is the first ever two-time inductee into the Space Coast Sports Hall of Fame. Butler, who also served as cross-country and track and field coach at Satellite High School, previously serving at Holy Trinity, will be inducted as a coach after being inducted in 2012 for his accomplishments as an elite amateur runner himself. One of Brevard's all-time most decorated high school coaches, Doug has been at the helm of 17 state championship cross-country teams and 6 championship track and field squads. He's also coached over 30 individual state champions and 65 runners that have gone on to compete in college, including Hall of Famers Kayla Hale and David Kilgore. Talent overcoming coaching, jokes Butler. Academics are also at the forefront of Butler's mind, as he not only instills those virtues in the mindsets of his players, but also as a teacher. A 2020 Space Coast Sports Hall of Fame inductee, Coach Doug Butler.
Yeah, Doug would have certainly been here tonight, but he is where he should be, and that's supporting his son as his son graduates tonight. So congratulations to the Doug Butler family, and we really appreciate all you do here on the Space Coast, Doug. I know you're watching tonight. A great tradition of coaching emanates from this next person, and great wins, and a real concept and culture of discipline within his players. This is a story and a tribute to Gerald Hodgin.
In his 50 years coaching high school football, Coach Gerald Hodgin earned more state championship rings than any other Space Coast coach in history. He was a key contributor on 5 state championship teams with dynasty programs Merritt Island during the 70s and Cocoa High in the 2000s. A Meridian, Mississippi native, Gerald, his wife Elke, and their family arrived in Florida in 1969 to check out a job opening for a football coach and teacher at Merritt Island High. During Hodgin's first year at Merritt Island in '69, he was the JV football coach, and in 1970 he became the offensive line coach for Eddie Feely's powerhouse varsity squad. The rest, as they say, is history, as the Mustangs racked up state championships in 1972, '78, and '79, with Hodgin leading the defense as the coordinator. Hodgin said among the highlights for him was spending Sundays with fellow coaches Feely, Odom, Mace, Thomas, Aiken, Preble, and Casper, going over game plans, along with all the special life bonds he made with his adoring players. When Gerald Odom became the head coach at Cocoa High in 2000, Hodgin joined his staff as the defensive coordinator and stayed on when John Wilkinson took over in 2004 and picked up 2 more state title rings in the process. Hodge put his life and soul into whatever he coached, said former Merritt Island High School principal Hank Smith. A 2020 inductee into the Space Coast Sports Hall of Fame, Gerald Hodgen.
Dean, old school coaching, tough-nosed guy, and really laid the foundations, perhaps, for the success that Cocoa Tigers are enjoying today. Another old school coach is now being inducted into the Hall of Fame with a great tradition of coaching, great leadership, and built a tradition. This is a coach by the name of Jim Oler.
During Jim Oler's record-setting coaching career at Brevard Junior College, later Brevard Community College, he posted 334 wins and 88 losses, leading the Titans from 1962 through 78. During his time at BCC, Oler won 2 Florida Junior College championships, a #1 national ranking in 1970, 11 Suncoast Conference championships, was FCCAA Coach of the Year in 1967 and 73, and coached 7 junior college All-Americans. His 1967 Titans team went 28-0, and in 67 and 73, his teams were NJCCA regional champions. Jim was also a great player in high school and college. Oler was a 4-year starter at Florida State University from 1952 through 56. He was inducted into the FSU Sports Hall of Fame in 1979. 2021 Space Coast Sports Hall of Fame inductee, Jim Oler.
Congratulations to the Oler family. I know some of them are going to try to be here this evening. I don't know if anyone made it, but anyway, congratulations to them. And moving on in our coaching category, the last inductee in the coaching side is someone who was a real gentleman, a real great coach here at BCC back in the day, made a huge difference in building the basketball program. And Tom Wasden, a good friend of his, helping to support the program, helping to build the program, and build the facilities that you see here today. Incredible world-class facilities in basketball and soccer and baseball. And of course now BCC, as Eastern Florida State College, not only offers 2-year degrees, but 4-year degrees as well. And many of our Breakfast of Champions athletes this morning are now gladly staying home and going to school here and getting their 4-year degree here at Eastern Florida. This next inductee, a real gentleman. Unfortunately, this is a posthumously given award. This person is no longer with us here on Earth, but I'm sure he's looking down and smiling that wonderful smile tonight. This is a tribute to our good friend, Don Smith.
Coach Don Smith took over a struggling BCC men's basketball program in 1985, immediately turning it around with 21 wins in his first season and 28 in his second, including a state championship, earning him Florida Coach of the Year. It would be the first of 2 state championships Smith won with the Titans. Overall, Don finished with 288 wins at Brevard, which is the second most in program history. In his final season with BCC, Smith set a then program record with 29 wins and won his second championship. In his 14 seasons, Don was named the State Coach of the Year twice and had 7 20-win seasons at BCC. Smith was also the athletic director of the Titans and led the women's basketball program to a state tournament berth as well. Smith was named to the FCSAA Hall of Fame in 1996. A 2020 Space Coast Sports Hall of Fame inductee, Don Smith.
First, I want to thank you very much for this award. I am deeply honored to be inducted into the Space Coast Hall of Fame. It is without a doubt that I would not be in this position today to accept this great honor without acknowledging who had my back. I'm very grateful to each and every one of my players, our coaches, our loyal and supportive fans. I've said it once, I've said it 1,000 times because it's very true. Good players make good coaches. It was a great time for which I am deeply grateful, and this award is icing on the basketball. Take care, everyone.
Tom Wasden, a very good friend of Don, I know you are very happy to see that tonight, Tom, and we really appreciate all you did here at the college, along with Don, and laying the foundations for today. Well, we couldn't have all these great games and these great competitions without officials. We have a category for sports officials, and one who is dedicated to his craft was a man called Ted Ruta. This is about Ted.
Ted Ruta, a universally respected 4-decade officiating veteran, started his career in the 1960s in Titusville as a member of the Florida High School Activity Association, created to officiate high school sports. He officiated high school sports in Brevard County from 1966 through 1982. Throughout his career, Ruta has been an inspiration to athletes on and off the field. In 2011, the National Football Foundation and College Hall of Fame announced that Ruta was the organization's Outstanding Football Official Award honoree. Ruta worked a total of 401 collegiate games during his legendary career and had the honor of officiating in 12 bowl games, including the 1999 Cotton Bowl, 1987 Orange Bowl, and the 2005 Champs Sports Bowl. He worked the landmark 1986 game that pitted number 1 Oklahoma against number 2 Miami, with the Hurricanes beating the Sooners 28-16. Throughout his distinguished career, Ted has served in many roles and capacities, including more than a decade of experience officiating basketball, track and field, and softball. Ruta has given selflessly and made a difference on and off the field, and devoted his life to contributing to improving high school and college sports in the Space Coast community, as well as throughout the United States. A 2020 inductee into the Space Coast Sports Hall of Fame, Ted Ruta.
Many congratulations to you and your family. He couldn't be with us tonight, but he sends his very best to you all. At Space Coast Daily, we love to write about and celebrate great stories of sports on the Space Coast. I mentioned Steve Wilson and Orville Susong, and our new sports person, Zane, really doing a great job in writing and covering sports on the Space Coast. And we have a category of journalism of sports, and this year we're recognizing a very great journalist, a very classy act. His name is Steve Vaughan.
Steve Vaughan's journalism career began at Cocoa High in 1959, serving 3 years as sports editor for the student newspaper. During that time, Vaughan also wrote sports columns for the Cocoa Tribune and the Orlando Sentinel. Steve attended Brevard Junior College, serving as their paper's sports editor, while lettering in baseball both years. He transferred with an AA degree to UF to study journalism and became editor of their student newspaper. Upon graduation, he returned home to serve as a sports editor for Cocoa Tribune and later Florida Today. Steve would become sports editor of the Orlando Sentinel for several years, quickly earning the position of executive sports editor and serving 1 year as president of the Florida Sports Writers Association. In 1980, Vaughan was promoted to executive editor, where he served until his retirement in 1992. A 2020 Space Coast Sports Hall of Fame inductee, Steve Vaughan.
I always think fondly of Brevard County because I went to Cocoa High School and what was then Brevard Junior College. Back in those days, I always looked forward to reading the 5-day-a-week afternoon Cocoa Tribune that would appear on the driveway. After the University of Florida, I was lucky enough to come back and be sports editor of the Cocoa Tribune, which is a big thrill. That was my first job. We had a 2-person sports staff, me and my bud named Andy Moore, and we sought to cover everything that moved in Central Brevard sports back in those days. We had standings, scores, statistics, a big page of all those little numbers. And I have to admit to you now, a terrible crime after 60 years of thinking about it. Andy and I occasionally would put a bogus team in the softball standings. So there would be Rockledge Electric, Campbell's Drugs, Rogers Raisin Refinery. Rogers Raisin Refinery was one of two bogus teams, and the other was Ben's Biscuit Barn. Ben's Biscuit Barn. So here would be the standings, and right down at the bottom at a record of 0-20 or something would be Ben's Biscuit Barn. So I'm telling you this here today because I hope this won't disqualify me from being in your fine hall. And that being the case, I would like to thank you for this honor and to wish all of you there in Brevard County best wishes and good luck.
Many thanks, Steve. Maybe the creator of fake news there, I'm not sure, but Steve is a real tribute to the craft of journalism, that's for sure. Our next category is in the category of sports development, and there's so many people who've developed things on the Space Coast in sports. And this next inductee is a real local guy who's done an amazing job with his family, raising boys who are now into college and competing at the finest level. And so as a coach and as a father, he's been amazing. And in developing the sport of baseball here on the Space Coast, there's no one better than this next inductee, and that's Lauren McClanahan.
Mustang Baseball Club head coach Lauren McClanahan grew up loving the same things his dad, Reverend Dr. Leland McClanahan, loved: God and baseball. Lauren credits his dad, who passed away this past March, with instilling in him a work ethic and passion for the sport that helped shape his career as a player and coach. Before he was a standout player for Merritt Island High School's baseball team, Lauren grew up playing in North Merritt Island Little League. By age 19, Lauren was already a winning coach. In a 30-year career that spans Little League, high school, and elite travel baseball teams, McClanahan has racked up more than 1,000 games. His 1994 Clint Hurdle Rockies swept the AAU 16U state championship and were considered the #1 ranked team in the nation. We teach players in the development stage that we play the game to compete, and winning is a byproduct of competition, he says. Lauren would serve as an assistant coach at Merritt Island High on 3 different stints, including the 1999 state championship baseball team. In 2019, McClanahan's U14 5-star team evolved into a national brand and was invited to the United States Specialty Sports Association Elite World Series, finishing as the #3 team in the country. Lauren is currently guiding the members of the Mustangs Baseball Club's U13 and U14 teams to focus on development in preparation for playing at Merritt Island High. A Space Coast Sports Hall of Fame 2020 inductee, Lauren McClanahan.
Join us, please, Lauren. Come up and join us.
Thank you. Thank you to the fellow inductees. I'd also like to thank you, Giles Malone and Tom Palermo and the Hall of Fame committee for all you do for this community. And it's a special place to be from, and I'm honored today to be part of this. 3 people influenced my career in coaching that are being inducted today, and one is Gerald Hodgins. Gerald Hodge. Everyone know him as Hodge. That was my baseball coach. So I had him for 3 or 4 years. Some people said I was a coach trapped in a football mindset. I was a coach like he was. I was a little bit tough, but I always shared love. And Coach Hodge, the great Coach Hodge, God rest his soul, we just lost him. But what a tremendous person that taught me about life in the game of baseball. Also, the Clint Hurdle family. Clint was a part of my life. His dad actually gave me hitting lessons when I was a little guy before that was ever a popular thing. I think he did it for free back then, too, if you could believe that or not. And then, of course, Chuck Goldfarb is another guy that had a great influence on my life. I want to thank my wife, who's here tonight, of over 25 years, Mary. You can clap for her. It's okay. A lot of times, coach wives go unrecognized, and they're definitely the wind beneath the wings. And then my son, Tyler McClanahan, is here tonight. And so I just would say this to all the inductees: just continue to keep giving back to your community. You know, raise your loved ones to love where they're from, and then to participate and be involved, and it'll just be a better place for all of us. So again, thank you, Giles, and congratulations to everyone.
Thank you, Lauren. Really appreciate all you do here in Brevard County. Now then, moving on. Lifetime achievement. That's a big word, big 3 words, isn't it? A lifetime of achievement is not something we talk about lightly. And this next person, you talk about making a difference here on the Space Coast in creating a system of health. That certainly did that. And this next person also gave so much back to the community through that system of Health First. Another posthumously given award, we'd like to recognize and thank and honor the family that's here today as well, of Larry Garrison.
Our 2021 Lifetime Achievement recipient's impact on our community represents the most vital aspects of our lives: health, fitness, and sport. Larry Garrison lost his courageous battle with cancer in 2020, and the Space Coast lost one of its most esteemed community leaders, healthcare visionaries, and sports ambassadors. Larry's commitment to the community played out in the development of Health First, the integrated healthcare delivery network that our community has come to trust and depend on. The Health First sponsors banner is a mainstay at just about every high school stadium and local sporting event. Garrison's love and advocacy of Space Coast sports and his ongoing support of community through Health First's 3 fitness centers earned him a place as a founding member of the Space Coast Sports Hall of Fame Review Board. Larry touched many lives both professionally and personally over his 70 years on this earth, and was a true sportsman. The 2021 Lifetime Achievement honoree, Larry Garrison.
Now we're going to have a good friend of his come up and say a couple of words here in the family. Come on up, sir. Come on up.
I'm not Larry or part of the family, but I was part of the founding initial direction to do this Hall of Fame. And Matt asked me if I'd say a couple words about Larry. I spoke this morning about a difference between somebody with a dream, a dreamer, and a visionary. A visionary is somebody that takes a dream and acts on it and makes things happen. Larry did that. Larry had a dream, and he implemented the dream, became a vision. He did it with the help of folks in this room, Tom Giles, Tom Wasden. But if it was not for those people that said, I see what can be, I see beyond what we have right now, none of us would be sitting in this room today doing any of this. So I owe a dedicated thanks to the Garrison family.
I think the profile was beautifully done. And I hearken back to 2020. Incidentally, you probably don't know who I am, but I'm Jim Palermo. I had the great honor and pleasure of being a friend and colleague of Larry's for over 30 years in the healthcare industry. I hearken back to the pandemic, and as you know, Larry fought cancer for a couple of years courageously, and his attitude never changed. He was always very positive, as he always was, as the absolute gentleman that he was, friend to everyone, and we talked about him being a healthcare visionary, a sports ambassador. Giles mentioned in his video that Health First was basically involved in almost every sports event. Health First had their banner up at every stadium, every high school stadium, every high school auditorium, and supported every high school sports discipline. Also, I don't know if everybody remembers, but Larry was also inducted into the, or was a think it was a 2011 humanitarian, personally there. And I can only say that as a friend and colleague, and he was also my mentor because I practiced medicine for about 28 years, and then I went what my colleagues called was the dark side. I became actually a healthcare administrator. I was at Health First for 10 years as the chief quality and chief medical officer. And I have to say that Larry was my mentor for the first 2 years because I had absolutely, I had no idea what I was doing for the first 2 years, and Larry took me through those 2 years. But I'm going to go back to 2020, his courageous fight with cancer. And the problem was that pandemic kind of screwed everything up, if you'll pardon the euphemism. His family never did have an opportunity to really memorialize him. And I think that what we've done tonight in bringing Larry to this audience and talking about what a wonderful man he was and what he has done for this community, hopefully that at least makes up a little bit for that issue back when he did pass. I had a whole bunch of things written down, and I think probably it's safe to say that few, if anyone, who ever met Larry were not impressed with his easygoing manner, warmth, and generosity. Larry, who touched so many lives, both professionally and personally, over his 70 years on this earth, he was really a true sportsman. And as Giles mentioned, he was a charter member of our Space Coast Hall of Fame selection committee. And lastly, I can very humbly and sincerely say that Larry Garrison's life, contributions, and achievements and his character are such to which we should all in this room aspire. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. Great words. Yeah, great man, Larry. Such a nice, easygoing fellow, and always said yes. You asked him for something, and he was there for you. Lifetime of achievement for Larry Garrison. One more round of applause, please, for Larry Garrison. Thank you. I'm sure Larry's looking down and enjoying this and giving us that beautiful, beautiful smile of his. This next Lifetime Achievement Award is for a person who is a real Islander, a real local Brevard County person who's gone on to do big things in the sport of baseball. And he was going to be with us tonight. He committed to be here. And he called up on, I think it was Tuesday, and said that he'd been called out by the Colorado Rockies to come try to help them. So he's coaching from the bench tonight for the Colorado Rockies. He couldn't be here. But I know he's watching, and we want to thank and recognize his hometown hero, Clint Hurdle.
Clint Hurdle is one of the Space Coast's most revered sons. The multi-sport Mare Island High star athlete was a power-hitting outfielder, an unstoppable quarterback for the Mustangs. Clint opted for a pro baseball career that included more than 500 MLB games as a starting outfielder and stints as manager of the Colorado Rockies and Pittsburgh Pirates. Highlights from Clint's MLB playing career include making the cover of Sports Illustrated at age 20 and playing in the 1980 World Series. As a manager, he led the Rockies to the 2007 World Series, and he turned around a failing Pirates franchise by leading them to 3 playoff appearances. Clint's sports legacy is forever ingrained as a player who always gave maximum effort, and as a manager whose players always gave 100% for their coach. 2020 Space Coast Sports Hall of Fame Lifetime Achievement honoree, Clint Hurdle.
And wish you the best of luck tonight, Clint. If you can tune in, we'd love to hear from you at some point and give us the update from the Colorado Rockies. We'll see what happens. That story will develop, I'm sure. This next category, as we move on to the final section of our night tonight, is for the person who is a ambassador of sports for the Space Coast. And as you can tell, there's so many people that have asked him to come up and contribute tonight to say a few words. There's no one better that you could possibly pick as a sports ambassador and a friend, somebody you can count on to promote the Space Coast. And that's our dear friend, Rusty Buchanan.
When the 2020 pandemic made it impossible for original host city Hampton Roads, Virginia to hold the 54th AAU Junior Olympic Games, Jennings Rusty Buchanan worked tirelessly to keep the games on by bringing the event to Florida's Space Coast. A longtime Brevard County resident and entrepreneur, then AAU First Vice President Rusty Buchanan forged a strong collaboration between AAU and other groups working with Governor Ron DeSantis, the Florida Sports Foundation, BPS, and Brevard County commissioners to successfully host the games in various locations across Brevard. Approximately 3,000 athletes were able to compete safely in 12 sports over 14 days of competition. These athletes, parents, and coaches generated more than 10,000 room nights and brought in an estimated $2 million in economic impact to the Space Coast area. The success of the 2020 Games was greatly due to Buchanan's more than 40 years of event marketing expertise and extensive AAU experience. A 2021 Space Coast Sports Hall of Fame inductee, Rusty Buchanan.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
Hey, thanks. I'm going to go real quick because it's been a long evening. It's been some just exciting people, and you know, I've got a tough show to follow with everybody we've just seen. But I can't believe it's been 17 years that we've had this. But the reality of it is, it goes back quite a bit further than that, and it goes back to 1991 when one of these people we talked about earlier, that a dreamer became a visionary. And they said, you know, the Space Coast can be more than just rockets and tourism. We can make the Space Coast a sports destination. And Tom Wasden and Don Smith came to see me in Tallahassee when I was working with the Junior Olympic Games. Said, hey, come to Brevard. We're going to create a sports commission. So Tom, it's never going to work. The county's too backwards. There's no infrastructure. It'll never work. So then they came back again and they brought Dr. King. And they brought Thad Altman, they brought Giles, and they said, hey, we can make this work. We can put this collaboration together. Second time I said, you know, guys, it's just not going to work. I just don't think this is ever going to be a sports destination. The third time he came back, he had a suitcase full of cash. And he opened it up and said, take what you want if you can come. And so I got the suitcase with me, Tom. Just you may remember this is what it came in. But he talked me into coming down here and doing this. So none of these things that you've seen tonight, the Breakfast of Champions, its 17th year, would not have happened was it not for the vision that some of these people had. And I am honored for tonight's award. I believe this is the 5th opportunity I've had to be inducted in a similar Hall of Fame. I've got a lot of accolades that I'm very proud of. I carried the Olympic torch in the 96 Olympic Games. I've got an Olympic medal from my work in Vancouver. But one of the most important things that I've been able to hang my hat on came really out of happenstance because of somebody else's vision. And it's a vision that some of these guys in the room had of that Brevard can be a sports destination. So a few years ago, you guys know a guy by the name of LeBron James? LeBron wrote a book with his high school coach, and LeBron and Drew wrote this book, and it's called Beyond Champions. So they sent me a copy of the book. In this page of the book, there's a picture of LeBron James sitting on the bench at Cocoa Beach High School. And it says, the first time I ever saw the ocean was at the AAU tournament in Cocoa Beach. And that's a picture in their book. I was kind of cool. I was kind of happy about that. But then a few years later, when LeBron's son, Bronny, was old enough to come in and step up and show what kind of talent he had, LeBron went to Nike. And he said, you know, Bronny's a pretty good athlete. I think he's going to be a superstar. I want to do something special. I want Nike to come up with a shoe. And I want it to be something special to me and to where my first vision of what sports could be really came to fruition. And Nike came up with a shoe that represents the first time he ever saw the ocean, and this is the Cocoa Beach. It says right on the side of the shoe, LeBron James, Cocoa Beach. Tom, this is your shoe. I'm going to give this to Tom tonight, but we're going to put it in a plaque, and we're going to give the City of Cocoa Beach one that's got the outline of the photo and all that at their 100th anniversary. And we're also going to give one to the city at their anniversary, as well as one to the high school. But to think that the vision that these guys had and the reason we're all in the room goes back to somebody that said, I got a vision, not just a dreamer. And LeBron has put us on the map. So thank you guys for this award.
Thanks, Rusty. Continue to be our ambassador, please. Great stuff. Now then, the Space Coast Sports Hall of Fame is not just about those pro NFL players and the basketball players and the world-class athletes. It's about courage, it's about determination, and sometimes it's about getting over something that happens to you in life. And we have an award every year called the Challenger Award, and this year it's going to a very special young man called Josh Dillon.
Special Olympics is a refuge for our friends and neighbors who have intellectual disabilities, providing activity and fitness for physical health and socialization for mental wellness. Joshua Dillon is the embodiment of the Special Olympics spirit, having competed at a high level in nearly a dozen sports, coming out victorious many times and making many good friends along the way. Through age 6, Josh was perfectly healthy, enjoying life as any 6-year-old would. However, one morning in his first grade classroom, he began having uncontrollable seizures. Medical professionals determined he had contracted West Nile virus, leading to a lifetime of epilepsy and learning challenges. As the years passed, Josh fell more and more behind his peers in school, became more depressed, and lacked physical activity. Having seizures nearly every day was killing his spirit. In 2014, a family friend informed Josh's parents about Special Olympics Brevard, telling about all the local opportunities for competition and for fellowship with other Special Olympics athletes and families. Upon arriving at his first track and field practice, his heart and face lit up. He went on to compete in the 1x100 meter sprint and the long jump, placing first in both events at county competition. The following year, Josh entered Vieira High School. His special ed teacher also headed up Vieira High Special Olympics Unified Sports Program and convinced Josh to come out and participate year-round. Josh would excel like never before and graduated Vieira High in 2019. Many competitions, ribbons, medals, and 2 brain surgeries later, Josh has refused to allow epilepsy to slow him down. He's an inspiration to anyone who comes into contact with him, leaving a smile on their faces and joy in their hearts. Our 2020 Space Coast Sports Hall of Fame Challenger Award inductee, Joshua Dillon.
Our very own superstar. Come on up, Josh. Come on up with his father, Brian. Come on up, guys. Congratulations, Josh. Many congratulations. Now then, face the front here. I just want to ask you, I'm going to ask you a couple of quick questions before we get started. Now then, how does it make you feel when you compete in those Olympic Games?
I'm very glad. If you can handle very high disabilities for 18 years, then your courage could make you more brave that question is, who do you think you are?
Thank you, sir. Brian, I know you want to say a couple of quick words about the Olympics.
Yes, and thank you, Giles, for giving me this platform. Special Olympics, I don't think people fully understand the impact of Special Olympics. From a parent standpoint, it was just a light in so much darkness. And I got to meet so many different families that are going through similar situations. And Special Olympics Brevard and Special Olympics Florida gives people with Josh's talent the platform to go out there and compete at the highest levels. From when he first started, just great people like Randy Butcher and Bob Raw and Jason Hart. And even today, we're led by Chris Labonte, Jan Thompson, Stacy Thompson, and so many other great people. Peggy Ketterston, oh man, she steals my heart. She just puts in so much effort. The coaches, the volunteers, and teens and young people, you can get your high school credits for your community service by helping out people like my son and so many other great people with Special Olympics. I'm so grateful to the Space Coast Sports Hall of Fame. Josh, are you grateful?
Yeah, I'm grateful.
He's a star. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Josh. He looks like a rock star anyway, that's for sure. There he is. Josh, Dylan, congratulations. Thank you, guys. Brilliant stuff. That's what the Space Coast Sports Hall of Fame is all about. That's what this country is all about. Many countries wouldn't recognize and give these people an opportunity, and it's just absolutely warms your heart to see this incredible work being done by the Special Olympics. Now then, the team of the year. This was not a difficult pick for the committee, and we're going to honor and recognize these incredible athletes, leadership, and coaches of the Cocoa Tigers.
Ryan Schneider's 2024 Cocoa Tigers became champions for the 7th time in school history and achieved a three-peat for the 2nd time. The 2024 Cocoa Tigers, like they do every year, put together a schedule featuring the most talented teams across the state to compete against. After going 6-3 in the regular season, the Tigers opened the postseason with a 63-0 drubbing of Lake Placid. The Tigers continued to advance, defeating Berkeley Prep, Newberry, and Cardinal Mooney over the following weeks. Cardinal Mooney gave the Tigers a mighty fight, but could not overcome the connection between quarterback Brady Hart and wide receiver Javon Boggs. Hart ended with 508 yards passing, with Boggs on the receiving end of 378 of that. Suiting up against Gadsden County in the 2A state championship, the opportunity to three-peat was on the line. Cocoa, clinging to a 2-point lead going into the 4th quarter, came through when it mattered the most. 3 fourth-quarter touchdowns helped the Tigers secure the victory and earn the championship. Cocoa head coach Ryan Schneider saw his legacy grow with the victory. In his 7th season at the helm, Schneider has now led the Tigers to an impressive 79-18 record with 3 consecutive state titles, solidifying his place as one of Florida's premier high school football coaches. Space Coast Sports Hall of Fame inductees and 2024 Team of the Year, Cocoa High School Tigers football.
Little Brevard County dominating across the country thanks to the Cocoa Tigers.
Thank you, sir. Cocoa is a special place. It's an honor to work there. It's an honor to be a part of that school and be a part of that community every day. The recipe for success isn't that difficult. We have unbelievable kids, and I've been lucky enough to surround myself by unbelievable adults. And they do a great job, and they deserve all the credit. We have a great school with a great principal with Miss Stewart, and it's just an honor to be there. It's an honor to represent the school. It's an honor to represent our city, and hopefully we can keep it going. It's been a great 3-year run. Hopefully we can win 4 in a row. and then maybe people will shut up for a while. But I'm just kidding. But it's an honor to represent our community, and thank you so much for this award. Thank you.
Look at that ring on that finger. You've got to take a look at that before you go home tonight. One thing I want to remind you before you go home tonight, if you would, all your inductees, make sure we get your pictures at the end of the night. We want to make sure that we're going to do a special showcase in the next newspaper and magazine. So make sure you please go over and see Beth and Zane and Tom over there. We're going to make sure we get your picture. The teams of the Space Coast, we've shown some of them tonight. And we always have an award, which is a Legacy Team Award. And this next person really wanted to be here tonight. He's a tremendous coach by the name of Chuck Goldfarb, and he led the Merritt Island baseball team in 1999 and 2000 to repeats. This is the Legacy Champions Award for Merritt Island baseball.
There may have never been a more formidable high school baseball team on the Space Coast than Coach Chuck Goldfarb's 1999 and 2000 Merritt Island Mustangs. His teams were a lethal combination of power, pitching, and execution. A squeeze play fueled a Mustangs comeback against Land O'Lakes in the 1999 state semis, and then they defeated Venice 6-4 in the state final. Remaining dominant in 2000 and again advancing to the state tournament, the Mustangs outlasted Gonzales Tate 6-4 in a 10-inning semifinal game. Merritt Island then edged Sarasota 6-5 to again win the Class 5A state title. Gonzales Tate and Sarasota at the time had 8 state titles between them, Goldfarb said. While those teams may have been great, there was arguably none greater than the back-to-back state champion Merritt Island Mustangs. 2021 Space Coast Sports Hall of Fame inductees, 1999 to 2000 Merritt Island Mustangs baseball.
Congratulations, guys. Chuck Goldfarb, I know you're watching. Chuck's up in the Northeast at an event. Couldn't be with us tonight, but congratulations, Chuck, and to all you guys who were part of that amazing team back then. Two more awards tonight, and this is a special one for me personally, having been involved in football, like they call it overseas, but soccer on the Space Coast. We became very involved with the Florida Youth Soccer Association and the Brevard Youth Soccer Association. And at one point, 13,000 kids in Brevard County were registered playing youth soccer, competing, and oftentimes having to go out of the county, all parts of the state in the southeast. And these two gentlemen here, who are the recipients of our Community Sports Advancement Award, have been doing their work quietly under the radar for 30-odd years, helping the game of soccer from a refereeing standpoint, from a tournament standpoint, from an administration standpoint, and really making a huge difference in the lives of our kids. And that's one of the reasons why Brevard County is a hotbed of soccer that it has been and will be going forward. This is the award of the Community Sports Advancement Award given to our good friends to Brevard, Justin Lauer and Dr. Bill Quinter.
Instrumental in supporting youth soccer locally, Justin Lauer and William Quinter started hosting soccer tournaments 16 years ago to provide affordable competition while attracting out-of-area competition to local Brevard County venues. Their original tournament was the Brevard Hurricane Classic in Merritt Island. They both have served in leadership roles with Brevard Youth Soccer League. Justin is currently chairman, and William has previously served as vice chairman. Together, they launched the BYSL Hall of Fame and started the Joe Goldian Memorial Scholarship. They both served as tournament directors for the Junior Olympic soccer competition that moved to Florida unexpectedly during the COVID pandemic. This was the first competition to play using COVID accommodations to showcase it was possible to play safely and get kids back outdoors. Justin and William have officiated youth soccer for over 30 years and supported development of referees over that time period. This includes Justin's son and daughter, who referee, and William's 2 sons, who referee. Soccer is a great community activity to help kids involved with positive activities, and they encourage involvement at all levels through playing, officiating, or volunteering. 2025 inductees into the Space Coast Sports Hall of Fame, Justin Lauer and William Quinter.
Come on up there. We'll even let you wear that tie. Come on up, Dr. Quinter. Come up, Justin. Thanks, guys. Many congratulations and thank you for all you've done. As expected. Got it? Classic Bill.
Good evening. It's a great honor to be here at the Space Coast Sports Hall of Fame with Space Coast Daily. We've had a lot of great ideas over the past number of years that Bill and I have worked on, whether it's bringing soccer events to Brevard County, starting scholarships for high school seniors, and even starting the Brevard Youth Soccer Hall of Fame. A lot of this is all possible really due to the support of the community. The community allowed us to be in those leadership roles and really make this all possible. But we couldn't do it without the community and the local soccer clubs and everybody that's out there. So we appreciate your support. Congratulations to the inductees. I'd like to thank all the Brevard County clubs that were in the state AGM last August for Florida Youth Soccer League and elected me to be the state vice president for Florida Youth Soccer Association. So right now I'm about in my first year of a 2-year term for that endeavor there. But really, we're here to represent you, bring soccer to Brevard County, and we really can't do it without your support. And my family also spends time on the soccer field. My wife, Jessica, is a big supporter, and my 3 kids, Jana, Jace, and Jade, they're all involved with soccer as well. And again, 2 of those also officiate youth soccer. So it's been a really great ride. And then, Bill.
It's a tough act to follow. I've been real fortunate. I started out meeting Dr. Jim Palermo when my kids were this big. And he was the head coach for the Little League team. And he let me tag along, be the assistant coach. I didn't know anything about it. So I was smart. I managed to keep my mouth shut. And he let me hang around. A little while later, a few years later, we started with soccer. And then I ran into my little buddy, Giles Malone, out at the old Cocoa Expo. And that's when our lives really changed. And we got involved with, life, just an expanded life, really. Meeting Rick Stotler, who I think brought Giles Malone to this country, which is good and bad. It's just been a great ride ever since. The most important thing that I think about when being allowed to join you all is what you've done with your lives since you were children, and made these decisions to commit yourselves to things that a lot of your friends, it doesn't make any sense to them, but your hunger, your thirst to do something special with your life has evolved. And, to be with all you people is just a monumental achievement in my life, and I appreciate just being with you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. Going to go that way? Okay. That plant attacked you. I saw that. Bad tackle there, sliding tackle by that plant. Don't let these guys get away without meeting them tonight. Very, very sharp guys, both of them. Justin, incredible software guy, and they really developed and created a tremendous impact here on the Space Coast. Now then, we're finishing up with our last award, and this was a tough one for us to discuss and finish with this, because we like to finish on a high note with something that will leave a message. This next award is a special award, a special tribute, and we like to celebrate. You know, oftentimes when we lose people, it's sad, right? And we have problems. But we want to celebrate this next person's life and his wife's life and their parents' life, because they were such a great group of people. I was at FIT doing my graduate work and came across Tim Wakefield, who was this amazing young man, bright. He always brightened the room when he came in. and you always felt that he was going to go on and do something special. This is a special tribute to Tim Wakefield.
The inaugural Space Coast Sports Hall of Fame. What do you think?
It's a special thing, you know. I think it's been a long time. This should have happened a while ago. There's so many great athletes, professionally, amateur, prep, high school, all that stuff that needs to be recognized. And you know, I'm very honored to be in the inaugural class, and hopefully we can make this a special event for residents of the Space Coast.
When longtime MLB great Tim Wakefield was inducted with the Space Coast Sports Hall of Fame's inaugural class, we had the privilege of seeing firsthand why he was so beloved by many. And it wasn't just because he threw a wicked, nasty knuckleball. Quick to praise others, Tim always presented himself humbly and had one of the biggest hearts anyone ever had the pleasure to know. Baseball was his profession for more than 2 decades, but people were always his passion, especially the underserved. Born in Melbourne in 1966, Tim was raised in humble beginnings, starring at O'Galley High School and then Florida Tech, where he still holds the single-season and all-time home run record. Drafted by the Pittsburgh Pirates in 1998, Wake struggled at the plate in the minors, but then reinvented himself as a pitcher, with his main weapon being a tantalizing knuckleball. This ability of conquering adversity would be an asset of Tim's throughout his career. He quickly rose through the Pirates farm system to reach the big leagues in 1992, where he helped lead the Pirates to the National League Championship Series and was later named National League Rookie Pitcher of the Year. Tim pitched 2 complete game victories in the NLCS against the Braves, bringing the Pirates within a heartbeat of the World Series. But even early on, Tim understood that life was bigger than baseball. He quickly leveraged his newfound fame and status to help lifelong friend Betsy Farmer, who had a few years earlier founded the Space Coast Early Intervention Center, a preschool for children with special needs. Through Wake's endless generosity and many celebrity connections, he and his wife Stacy helped support what is now Space Coast Discovery for more than 25 years. The 1993 baseball season began with lots of hope for Tim and the Pirates, but he would soon lose control of his signature pitch and was sent back down to the minors, eventually being released in '94. This would be crushing to any ordinary man, but Tim Wakefield was no ordinary man. 6 days later, he was signed by the Boston Red Sox and worked that offseason with legendary MLB knuckleballer Phil Niekro. And that's when he once again caught lightning in a bottle. In 1995, with the Red Sox struggling with injuries at the top of the pitching rotation, Tim was called up from AAA in late May and proceeded to dominate, going 14-1 with a 1.65 ERA through his first 17 starts. He would help Boston win the American League East, earning American League Comeback Player of the Year honors. Tim quickly became a favorite of the Boston community, giving back and helping the underserved like he had always done, particularly having a heart for children. Wake partnered with the Franciscan Hospital for Children. He was active with the Pitching In for Kids and Touch 'em All organizations, and in 2013 was named honorary chairman of the Red Sox Foundation. An evangelical Christian since 1990, Tim was blessed to find the love of his life, Stacy, in Boston. They were married in 2002 and had 2 wonderful children. The Wakefields loved Boston, but they also loved coming back to their home on the Space Coast every year. Wake would have a long and productive baseball career, finally retiring in 2012 with 200 career pitching victories, 3rd in wins all-time in Red Sox history, only behind Roger Clemens and Cy Young. Throughout his life and career, Tim always had an even-keeled approach. He believed that successful people were obligated to serve their community. Tim and Stacy Wakefield were the epitome of love in action, 2 of the most genuine and generous people you could ever be blessed to know. But as we all have learned, life can be cruel and unfair. God never promised anyone tomorrow, not even for his good and faithful servants. Tim left us at the all-too-young age of 57 in 2023, with Stacy soon following Tim home in 2024. But their huge legacy lives on. While he was with us, Tim demonstrated that life is not about fame or fortune or statistics. It's about relationships. It's about serving. It's about love. Tonight, we give special recognition to a Space Coast Sports Hall of Famer from our 2012 inaugural class. Tonight, we all honor the legacy of Tim Wakefield.
Tribute, Brian Dillon. Wonderful work there. And gone but not forgotten. Tim Wakefield for sure. And gone to a better place. And we want to end the night on a positive note. And that is nominations are open for next year's Space Coast Sports Hall of Fame. So by all means, you can send those in. I want to thank Mike Erdman and Freddie Erdman for their relationship with us. Tremendous benefactors of Brevard County sports. They've been helping high schools and programs all across the county, including National Kidney Foundation, for many, many decades. Mike and Freddie want to thank you for all you do for Brevard County. And that's about it, folks. We want you to come over and get your pictures taken by this wall. And we can't wait to see you again next year. And have a great evening, folks. Thank you very much.